Good morning, my fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. It is I, and I am Guy. I'm coming to you live from Applewood Station in Denver, Colorado, where it's a lovely 22 degrees, and we'll be climbing to 28 today. 30 degrees is my top end. I hate 30 degrees. I have a lot of hatred for 30 degrees and above. So, we'll be creeping towards I hate this. I really hate this. So, anyway, I am finishing up a response here. I am over here doing So anyway, I hope everybody's doing good today. So, I don't know what's going on here today. I think what I'll probably be doing. Oh, I was in the middle of trying to set up music, wasn't I? I was in the middle of not setting up music. Look at me setting up not music. I'm just broadcasting dead air. It just happens, I guess, with us. There we go. We still have to restart. Meh. Mm. Okay, let's see here. We're still working in Blender. I mean, I don't mean black. Like, I hate doing UV mapping. It's the one part of this job that's not any fun. And we'll get there, and it'll be fine. It'll be totally fine. But it's still, I hate UV mapping. All right. All right. So a few days ago, a week ago, I posted on Facebook the last picture I took in Japan before I came home. I was feeling very nostalgic and having I, feeling nostalgic and had a kind of a sad feeling going for it because it was the last picture I'd taken. It was a beautiful picture. I was very proud of it. I had my big camera with me, and the sun was setting over these buildings in Moria, which was the city we were in. Um, And it was a lovely picture, and a friend of mine came in here and just ripped into it. And ripped into Japan. Like how Japan's all racist and xenophobic and all kinds of stuff. And asked me, and was saying it was an anti-litany. It was a litany of my values as a person. And I was like, okay. So I said, I hope you're joking. And no, I'm not joking at all. I'm serious. And okay. And I decided to walk away from the thread for a week, cool down. And when I came back, I said, all right, I am more than willing to have a discussion. Because his whole thing was, he was saying that I need to close this. That's what I need to do. Stop looking at it. He was just saying that, it was like, well, how can you be supportive of that culture when that culture is so racist and xenophobic? And I was like, well, I mean, realistically, I'm not supportive of any specific thing. I am supportive of the people, as I will often be, because frankly, people aren't at fault. It's not the people's problem necessarily. So kind of was doing that's my thought here is it's never the people who, but it was still completely inappropriate. It's a very, very inappropriate statement. And I called him out for it. I said, hey, it doesn't matter. Your friend was nostalgic and feeling a little lonely and missing Japan, and your response was to be a jerk about it. And no matter what, that's not cool. Doesn't matter which way you look at it, it's still not cool. So called him out on that one. And then unwrap faces, project from view. You're still looking at speaking of faces, you're looking at my face. And I understand. We have a sort of a day and age now where social media is really all about arguing with people. And I'm actually pretty okay with that. However, we're not jerks about it. You be polite. Behave. Context is king. If the post is about nostalgia, let us be nostalgic about it. Okay. What I've done here, I'm going to flip this around and project from view. Now, you might be going, why did you just flip that around? And I would say, because I think I'm funny. Anyway, flipped it around so that the face was going the right direction. So that if I put anything on the tires like Goodyear or whatever, they'll all read correctly. I don't think I'm going to put anything on the tires. I can't imagine why I'd put something on the tires, but I've got the sidewalls just in case separated out so that we can have that going that way. The biggest problem is trying to get this strip. There is a real issue with Blender. It is a cylinder. So if I say project it by cylinder, it should just unwrap it. But it doesn't, because reasons. So you have to go in and put a line. You have to go in and find a line and cut this and make a seam so that it will stop trying to do stupid. And it really aggravates me that Blender is this dumb. Right? So see, this is why. That is not a cylindrical projection. That's the cylindrical projection. But then it's like, okay, why didn't you do this? I mean, does it work? Yeah, it does, but boy, I mean, it just chopped it into 4 units. So, I mean, okay. But I mean, technically speaking, it's not even scaled properly because it needs to be like that. Didn't chop it into 4 units, chopped it into 2. But it still is like, okay, but it needs to be right. I mean, it's like, and if you look, this is the left side of the tire. So what it really did was this. I don't even know where these things are. So really, it's this. It doesn't even make sense. Like, I don't, I mean, it clearly can do the job. It just doesn't for whatever reason. Worse, it's, I don't know how big it is. The only way really to find out is to move it between the tires like so, and then see if you make the circles roughly the, or now the odds are good in reality that I'm not going to ever do anything but color these all black. Right? Because I mean, they're tires. So the big important piece is going to be the outer hub, because this is the piece you'll actually see. And all I'm really probably going to do is put like a circle, a circle, a circle, a circle. It's not going to be hard. The other thing I've noticed is with this landing gear, it's not the same kind of landing gear as like the wheels on vehicles, which I have made with the little grabby things that grabs the wheel loop so you can put your hand through the middle of the wheel. which I've noticed that I did not do here, but I guess I'll just deal with that and figure out how to mess with it later. So and there's another one we're going to have to straighten out. Project from view first so that we can get it straightened out and squared away because it's now not aligned properly. Then we'll do the same thing we did. We'll do a cylinder projection. At least in this instance, it's trying to do it right. There you go. This is the inside of the hub, which I don't know if I necessarily need to worry that much about. But, hey, I'll give myself the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I will use the hub, or maybe I won't. Who knows? But either way, I will make it be out here. Same thing was going to go for this guy. When you do project from view, you have to be super careful that you are lined up. Otherwise, this isn't going to end well. I'm just saying. So we're going to project it from view. And then from this side, we're going to grab the middle pieces of this. Right through here, because we do see this part. And we say, unwrap. We'll do a cylinder projection of that, which I don't know why it has to do. I mean, they're 1,000% wide. And I haven't figured out why it's not 1-to-1. This is making UV mapping cylinders very difficult. I mean, like, legitimately. Hey, Ray. How you doing? We are unwrapping cylinders? I don't know. Like, that's this guy right here. We're trying to... Okay. For one, undid that, which that's not cool. Because we're going to have to go around these guys anyway. There we go. Oh, yeah, there you go. Is that metaphorical, or are you actually on top of a hill? Like, I'm on top of this hill. Like, on top of the world. Oh, yeah. Semester end over here, too. Ooh, doggy. How'd you do? Hey, OD. I am working on... It's kind of hard to see from right here, isn't it? I have a... Here, I'll show you this. Here, we're working on this guy, who is a jet fighter with walking legs. You failed 2 classes, but the rest are okay. You know what? That's the important part. I think I'd be willing to go with, you were happy and you enjoyed it. That's good. I'm okay with that. So, OD, I am doing the dreaded UV map. UV mapping is not fun, but we got it. It's not the bestest thing. So, UV mapping is ultimately we will have to It is the yes and no. It's the landing gear and the leg. The leg's already mapped. The landing gear, however, is not. So I'm just going through, and you can't actually see it at this point in time because it's got to be transparent. Are you near a city? Because I love city views. I also love non-city views, like when it's really dark and you can see so many stars. I love both. But you probably guessed that. All right. These guys we don't have to worry too terrible much about because they are inside and you can't even see them. So I'm kind of working a lot for something you're not going to see. So usually when I have things that never get seen, I will put them in an oubliette sort of thing. Oubliette is a French word, which it overlooks the entire city. Ah, man, that is so cool. Oubliette's a French word, which is like it was a prison, but it was like a prison where you were never seen again. You just vanished. Which, maybe that's not necessarily a positive thing, but you get the idea. Now, you will see that guy probably this upper strut piece. So I probably ought to. 1.4 million is that's a pretty serious city. I mean, my city's 3. So your city is half the size of my city. That's nothing to sniff at. That's some serious city. You've got some serious city going there. Yeah, it was designed to be the thing where we locked you away and we never talked to you again. You were gone. That's the point. So, oubliette, I use oubliette as a term to mean the right? So you got half of the entire population there. Yeah, but the US is 300 million. A lot of mid and East Asian cities are and Southern Asian cities are very, very densely populated. Which is kind of interesting. There's probably a logical reason behind it, like something that, see, these guys get stuck in the oubliette really quick right there. There's probably a logical reason behind it, but I wonder if there's a cultural reason behind it. I find Asian cultures tend to cooperate more. No, yes, no, maybe so. I don't know whether that clicked it. Oh, that's why. I'm like, why am I not getting the rest of that circle? Here we go. Dang it. I do not want you, Sam I Am. Yeah, well, we'll get that outer ring out of the way. That'll help a little bit. See, now we take this and we can pretty much exclude pieces of it over here. Like so. Is it because you've got water levels on the rise? You shouldn't have water levels yet. I mean, I guess you should. I guess I say that in a vacuum. Like, I don't know. What do I know about water levels rising? I'm 1.6 kilometers above sea level. Not really. Oh, okay. You're losing a lot of herd animals. Oof, that sucks. You're also close to one of the bigger problems with global warming, one of the bigger groups, because China is one of the huge industrial nations. It's involved in a lot of that. Said, of course, gently. The farmers now live in the city. Gotcha. They've moved away because they're done with it. Man, but like herd animals and farming, that's like a rite of passage for Mongolians. I mean, like, when I think of Mongolia, I think of herd animals. Like, that's a thing I think of. I mean, I think of a lot of things when I think of Mongolia, but okay, well, I think George has gone insane again. George, I'm over here. You know, I know you're lost somewhere in the house. We have that same problem here. We've lost a lot of our industry. Yep, I feel like we've done the same. I wish it weren't true, but it is. Good heavens. And these guys live in the oubliette. In fact, I'm going to put the oubliette out here Just to remind myself that I don't need these pieces, that they can live in the oubliette. Because otherwise, we're never going to get this straightened out. I think these are oubliette pieces too. No, they're not. Part of the ring, which we'll straighten out here in a second, because we'll do this, and that should get the ring. Yeah, I'm worried about all of us, man. None of us are doing a good job of this. I mean, even we are starting to feel the effects of this stupid stuff. And we did it too. We did it too, my friend. We did it too. And, my hope is that I can get at least a cool car out of our Mad Max future. Just saying. Just the front or the back? Oh, good. You and you, we've made a connection. That's useful. Because this can then just be projected from view this way. Because it's really the way it should be. And I think the thing that makes me maddest about it is that I remember in the 80s, groups like Genesis and stuff singing songs saying, hey, this generation needs to fix it. And it wasn't just us. I heard Russian songs that were the same way. It's like our generation was going to put this right. The Gen Xers were not happy. And we were supposed to fix it. And we couldn't. It's like we just couldn't get in there and fix it. Like, people were just so determined to keep the system the status quo. And now it's like, well, how'd that work for us? Didn't exactly turn out well. Let me go the other side. It's a system for you. Yeah, it is. I'm still mad, though. I mean, our generation will put it right. We're not just making promises that we know we'll never keep. There's too many men, too many people. And not much love to go around. Can't you see we're in a land of confusion? I mean, Phil Collins is saying it, man. Land of Confusion is still one of my favorite songs ever. Now, there are some nice things. And at least we have a couple of things going our way. And one of them is, oh, really? Good heavens. Boy, I hate myself. Ray? I'm looking at this model and I'm like, why did I do this to myself? was I thinking? You know, these could just be attached to these. To this hub. And this to this hub. Man, it doesn't make this all one unit. So there are good things. We are slowly figuring it out. Just taking a lot of freaking time. But we are figuring it out. And that's at least a plus. We're getting there. We'll be fine somewhere down the road. Oh, these are oubliette pieces. You know what? These are oubliette pieces too. I'm over it. This is way too many little pieces to worry about. I can't even imagine why I'd need to know this much information about this landing gear. There will be a day, though, where I will have some scene in my comic where you have to look really closely as the landing gear comes down, and I will go, thank goodness I spent all that time doing the stupid stuff on the landing gear. I think we'll actually be fine in the end. It's just going to take time. We all have to get past the people who believe that this is all a lie and don't believe that things are actually happening out there. And we have to get past those guys. And there are squadrons of them. And, to some degree, I can't blame them per se, because I kind of see how you could see this was a lie and, feel like this is some kind of trick perpetuated by the upper class or something like that, because it's hard. And I feel for that. I really do. I get it. But, I'm also learning science. And one of the things I'm learning about science is that you don't screw around with the science, Could this be a trick? Well, sure, but all you have to do is apply a small amount of logic checks to it. And that is, why would millions of people be in on this trick, What benefit could that possibly have? So it's kind of hard. And I understand it. I get it. I feel for them. But like you just said, it's the decade where nothing happened, You didn't have... they're already past... They're past the fall of the walls. They're past the Berlin Wall coming down. They're past the post Soviet Union era of Russia. This has been a different world to them than the world that I grew up in. I don't know about you, but I grew up in the 80s, and everything was very different back then, I don't even want to say better or worse, just different, These just look like a whole bunch of sticks. Like, all I've done is just make a bunch of sticks. There we go. Okay, just really should just stack these things next to each other and just rotate them all until they're stacked. Make a stick stack. This is my stick stack. Leave my stick stack alone. A stack of sticks. Don't make fun of my stick stack. I mean, not like I'm not already making fun of my stick stack, but, I'm just saying, my stick stack. I was thinking about how much human beings love automatopoeia. I mean, we really do. Automatopoeia is words that sound the same. So you put them all together. Japan has a ton of them. Japan really loves automatopoeia. But all of us do. Like all of that seems to be one of those, there are so many of these interesting universal things. Zizek. No? Never heard of Zizek. I can look it up though. Maybe Zizek? Oh, you mean he's a philosopher? Yes, in reference to that, yes, I have. I didn't know you were talking about an actual person's name. Slavoj. If you're Slovenian, if you're Slovenian, having a name like Slavoj seems interesting. Like, it'd be like my name being America. Which, by the way, I have met girls now whose name is America. And I'm like, well, that's a thing. I don't know if I'd want to call myself America. I mean, not because I have any... It's not a nationalism issue at all. It just seems like that'd be confusing. But I think that a lot about a lot of things. And I think there's no way you could... And then people do. And okay, well... I mean, I guess that's a thing. Live by his work, die by his work. There's nothing wrong with that, my friend. As long as you're not Nietzschean, you and I will get along just fine. We'd probably get along just fine if you were Nietzschean as well. Nietzsche is probably the philosopher who is the furthest from my beliefs. So I make jokes that if you were Nietzschean, I would probably not be. Because I believe that all of us have an inherent need to do the right thing and an inherent need to be useful. And we all want to be part of culture. And we get tangled up, and sometimes we get confused. And sometimes we don't do our part in the culture just because we have issues. But I believe that the reason why people don't do their part in culture is mostly due to something not going right in their world. Either they're Maslow's... You're not a big fan of Nietzsche either, huh? That's fair. Nietzsche has his place. I mean, Nietzsche is an important philosopher to study. I just don't believe anybody should. I don't believe he's right. I think he's got it wrong. And the more I get into anthropology and learn about how human beings are and how we are as people, as creatures, as an animal, if you will, an animal on this planet, the more I learn that, and the more I believe that's the case. And I know I'm going to have to write a paper on it for people to believe me. And that's fine. That's why I'm going into this field. I'm hoping somewhere down the road I'll write a paper and people will go, oh, wait a minute, I think Guy's got a point. Preferably not, I think Guy's got a point and it's on the top of his head. People probably will say that anyway. There we go. We have a bunch of sticks. The sticks go to the landing gear. No, not really. There's an inherent desire, a desire for us to believe that people are bad, because it's hard to think that people would do something horrible like the Holocaust or something like that. Yo.
Borrow your car on Monday.
On Monday?
Yeah.
Man, you keep coming up with random days. I swear.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you and your random dayness.
It's not my random dayness.
Yeah, it looks like all I've got on Monday is geekding. So you have until 9 o'clock at night, man.
I'll be back for work by then.
No problem. Yeah. Well, now, I mean, there are things. Like Marxism is usually brought up as a bad thing in our country because we're, notoriously capitalist and yada, 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 and yada, yada, yada. And there's all these things that we do. So you bring up Marxism and people are like, ooh. But the truth is, Karl Marx had some interesting and important things to say. I don't always agree with all of the things, but that doesn't mean that in its uniformity, all of Marxism is wrong. A lot of it he's building off of Socrates. He was a big philosopher and an important part of our cultural history as a culture, or as a world culture. And it's just interesting. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things that. Okay, this one landing gear is now complete. I mean, just map it to the other landing gear. You mean Marx? Yeah, maybe. I could see that. No, I would go with that. That seems like a thing. All right. We have completed one landing gear. All right. If you look now, the landing gear and the wheel both have now maps on them, and all I need to do is just grab both of them, and we'll go into edit mode. You can now see we've got a landing gear and the wheel. Yes. I mean, he was so in that, to that nature, yes, obviously he's going to be somewhat aligned in the same thought process. However, on the same token, let's scale this down so it at least is the correct size for the leg. And then I'll just put it right there. Put her there. All right. And then that way, since the legs take up all of this space here, I'm going to go on ahead and sort of discriminate against both of these so that one will be on one side and one will be on the other. Because I ended up accidentally doing like parts where they were swapped and it wasn't the same leg. And so I was like, I had to try to figure out what I was doing. Couldn't figure it out. Couldn't get it straightened out. And it was pretty rough. So, anyway, we're going to do that. Yeah, I feel like it's always interesting. This is where I really enjoy talking to people like you who are in a different country, in a different perspective. You have a different view. And that's so interesting because you'll bring up things I've never thought of. And now I have to think about them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah. Well, you know. So it's not that I will ever disagree totally with all the philosophies. There's not usually philosophies that I tend to disagree with. But one thing I will often um, one of the things that I will often say is I got sidetracked because I was trying to select all of these pieces of this leg. So there's that. Because I didn't select all of these before I went into this mode. So let's go back into object mode. As far as Rosa Luxemburg, I will always think that was that. I mean, she has some. Why did you select? Here we go. There. We only got one leg. Yes. Good. Gosh. All right, let's fix this. Jeez, look at all the pieces everywhere. Right, like here are the doors. It's the landing gear doors. Here's the foot. And here's the upper leg. That's one leg. What's this? It's the rest of the legs pieces here. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to read. What side is that on? Oh, that's a oubliette. Why did I oubliette? I mean, because like I get this. No, I don't get that. I get this being oubliette. That makes sense. And that's inside a joint, so you'll never see that. Well, love and passion are always beautiful. It's so much better to run by love than it is to run by fear. I can respect somebody. Sorry, it's still morning. I'm still not quite started yet. But I can truly respect somebody whose entire operation is based on a passion for something. I can respect that. I have concerns when the you know what, I'll just leave it like that. Maybe I should redo these guys. I have concern when people are run by fear. There are a lot of people run by fear. And that's typically a bad thing, right? Who wants to do that? Okay, there we go. I like you, Ray. You and I, we talk about things that are fascinating. They're really interesting. think I need to worry about the insides of these doors. I think I can oubliette the rest of the door hinges and probably even the outside. Right? There's no reason for us to fear each other. You and me, we're not part of it. We're not part of. I actually was just thinking about that because I'm having a conflict with a buddy of mine on Facebook. And his argument was, how could I support the system? Yeah. How could I support Japan when Japan does all of these things? And my response is, I don't necessarily support Japan, but I do support Japanese. Like the people. I've been over there. They're just people. It's like I may or may not support Mongolia. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know. I don't actually right now have an opinion left or right. But I will always support the people. Because you're humans. You're people. You're part of the big human family. This door is crooked. My landing door is crooked. Oh well. I will get to it. But look at how crooked it is. It's not even sealing properly. Oh my god. Why do I do this to myself? I just torture myself a lot. That's what I do. This is apparently my thing. I love. They are very respectful as a culture. But what's so funny is once you get past the culture of everybody, we're all the same. It doesn't matter if you're Japanese. There are very loving and respectful Americans and Mongolians and Russians and Chinese and then there are jerks. But I'm of the opinion that the reason that a lot of us become jerks is because we have bad things happen to us during our life. And it makes us bitter. And that's a choice. You can choose to be bitter. You can choose to be angry. But it's a choice. You don't have to. I'll oubliette that. We're going to oubliette that. You mean the Japanese? The gambatte. You're talking about gambatte. Gambatte is the stiff upper lip. It's like the British and their stiff upper lip. All you're doing is putting black hair in my clean towels. I'm just saying, cat. I swear. George. You're such a pest. Gambatte is admirable, but I also think sometimes they need to do something better about it. They need to make better choices. It's okay to be gambatte, but I think if that was... when I start going over there and working with them, which is my goal, one of the things I'm going to work on is how do we overcome gambatte while keeping the principle of gambatte? Many people will die because they kept a stiff upper lip and didn't say anything. And that's not what you want. You don't want that. I think... put the door back in. That'd be kind of cool. Because realistically, we're all going to want to try to see what it looks like when it's can't or shouldn't. Because I hate to say this, but people are. Especially in Japan. agree. Yeah. It is not something that Japan should be proud of, and they're not. They're not proud of that. Um, and especially since it's exploiting a passion. Sometimes the people who die of overwork are exploring a passion. This is one of those things that makes me sad, because some of those people who have died from overwork are mangaka, so they're comic artists just like me. And I'm going to get my comic done, but I'm not going to kill myself to do it. That's ridiculous. We're just going to go at whatever pace goes, and we'll make it work, right? All right, we've done one leg. I think includes now everything in that leg. And then all the black dots you're seeing there are oubliette pieces, which I think is pretty okay. I think we're okay with that because, well, you do see this guy up here, don't you? So I have a theory about that too, which is people like to be useful, and we want to be useful. And in being useful, yeah, we want to be useful. Well, I think wealth is a different thing. I think wealth comes from fear, or at least over rich. If you are super rich, it's usually because you are afraid of not being rich, of not having enough. And so you sort of overreact in a way and do things that maybe you wouldn't really normally do because you're worried that you won't have enough, or you've been told you won't have enough. I think that causes people to behave badly. I think that's what happens with that a lot. I wasn't going to do anything with this joint, but then I saw it and I realized you can see it from the outside. And since you can see it from the outside, like this, I probably should do it. You can see all of it, but well, it doesn't matter because you can't connect any of those other pieces. So, but anyway, yeah, that's like Elon Musk and the other super rich people in the world. They are that way because they have a fear of scarcity. Whether it was real or not, because it may not have been real. They may not have ever really needed to have, they may have always lived rich with a lot of money and never really needed to worry about it. What is this? Oh. Why is it like that? Why are you like that? Weird. Why are you like that? Why are you like that? What in the world? None of this is. It's just a cylinder, people. It's just a cylinder. It's so weird. Yeah, but that's what I mean. But somewhere along the line, his father, his mother, or somebody instilled, if you don't have money, a lot of money, then you will die, or something bad will happen to you. Somebody instilled that in him. Or, moreover, and this usually is true, you see your father has an emerald mine, so he obviously lives well because of his emerald mine. So you need an emerald mine too, you know. And that's the problem. George, it's attached to you. My cat is attacking his tail. His tail has offended him for the last time. And so somebody put that fear in him that if he doesn't have millions of dollars, bad things will happen to him. And so he behaves appropriately or inappropriately, depending on how you look at it. And that's part of the problem. It's 10:47 a.m. Are you still out on your hill? Or did you go inside? I love hills. My buddy on the south side of town lives on the side of a hill. And it's the same thing. He's got a sunroom out back. And you can just sit in the sunroom and look at the city. And just look at all of the beautiful things going on outside. Got a buddy who's going through a tough time. This is the thing. I've got a friend, his mother is dying. She's got cancer. The cancer will likely take her this weekend. She's still alive right now, but not for much longer. I feel for this. My parents are both gone now. And I really understand that. I understand losing parents. So I'm going to hang out with him and take care of him today a little bit. And I don't remember her very much. We're childhood friends, and I know I spent time with her, but I cannot remember her. Because it was so long ago. For me, it was junior high. I mean, my buddy, of course, I was with my buddy just 4 or 5 days ago. But we're adults. We don't usually hang out at each other's parents' house anymore. But that's a thing. I will do that. Thank you. But it's interesting because that's all the same. No matter where you go. You have parents too, and someday you'll be going through this path. This is a bad, dark, horrible part of our lives, but it's all the same. For you, for me, for my buddy, for people in Japan. You know, I mean, like, we all go through this. Every one of us does. And nobody is spared. And I think that that's an interesting thing, but it's also part of why I'm like, we shouldn't be. Hang on real quick. Yeah. My mom had what we call a widowmaker heart attack. That's the heart attack that is so bad that it just it's not survivable. And she was 57 years old, which is only 5 years older than I am right now. Right? It's funny that you'd say that because I think it's interesting. Not funny in a haha way, but funny in a that's an interesting and wise statement. It's interesting you would say that because one of the things that we talk often about is entitlement. Are you entitled to things? What are you entitled to? And we make jokes. Well, you don't make jokes. We comment that entitlement, you're not entitled to anything in life. And then I was like, well, but you should be. I've been kind of thinking about this. And peace should be an entitlement. You should be entitled to peace. Just entitled, you should be entitled to be able to just do your damn job, whatever it is. You know? People should leave you alone, let you do your work. And that is an entitlement, in my opinion. You're entitled to that. You should be able to feel like that's a thing you can do. Safety, comfort. These are all things that should be entitled to us. As sort of a payment for... Right. But we have the resources. Right now, we have the resources. There are 8 billion people on this planet. And we make enough food and we make enough shelter for all 8 billion people. But we're also afraid we will lose our resources if we give them out. That we don't give them out. Which of course means, I cannot believe we do this, we let people suffer because we don't want to accidentally screw up the balance of food and shelter. And people attribute that to greed. They think that that's greedy. People are greedy. That's why people do it. And I don't think so. I think people are afraid. They're afraid to lose that. I've got comfort right now. I'm comfortable. I don't want to give comfort to somebody else because... Yeah, except that I don't think that they're saying it is what it is. I think they're saying we don't have the ability to fix it. There's a difference. This is something I actually had that discussion with my roommate about. Because it is what it is dispassionate. It's saying, I don't care about those people. I think people care about those people. I think we all care about those people. But we have this problem of, but if we give them the resources, we'll lose the resources ourselves. So if I give you my food, what will I eat? And if I starve to death by giving you food, that didn't help any. And I think that especially politicians really like to use that fear to get Right. That's the problem is we do have it. We have it. But we can't give it. And people will ask me questions. I mean, I think about this from my own point of view. I have a house. And there's even room in this house. Would I give my spare bedroom to a refugee? The question then becomes, but then you have a stranger in your house. How do you know the stranger won't damage your house or hurt you in the night or da 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 da? Now it's a bunch of fear. It's a bunch of I'm worried, I'm agitated, I'm scared. I don't want them to do this. I don't want them to do that. But what's funny is if you needed a place to stay, Ray, I'd take you in happily. There's no fear. I don't fear you. Right? But that's because I know you. I am noticing that the landing gear struts go up into the... I swear. Like, why did I do this to myself? But yeah, I mean, so I'd take you in because I know you. But I only know you on the internet, and who knows? You know, and then somebody would say, but Guy, you only know Ray from the internet. How do you know? Well, how do you know anybody is? Maybe. I mean, I think part of it's a government job. And part, and you're not wrong about that either. That's why I'm chuckling. Oh man, none of these are aligned right. You know, once I straighten up these legs, boy, I can see how badly I had messed up this model. Here I am, messing up models. That's my lot in life. Oh no, this door's not even in. I guess it is in. Where is this door? That happens. And then maybe you're right. Maybe it's not my fight to fight, you know? I don't have to, but it is something to think about. Let's close these doors properly. At least close them. And that's the thing. That's the trick. That's what's going on. Right? Turn your light off. So, well, and that's also a fear, right? I mean, like, anytime we run into these government problems where, you know, if you do this, then this happens, or if you do that, that happens. See, I can wheel these in. Wheelie, I can. Ha 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 ha. As I said at the top of the show, everybody loves automatopoeia, but everybody also loves, because of that, everybody loves dad jokes. Nobody wants to admit that they love dad jokes, but we all love dad jokes. Just saying. It's one of those things. I think the thing that's really funny is I have always loved machines all of my life. I've always loved machines. I love airplanes. I love boats. I love cars. I just love machines. And I always have. And I realize that oh, I see what you're saying. I realize how many machines I missed because I kept a dad joke book. Yeah, just saying. It's interesting. I have, there are a number of things I've branched off of here thinking about this stuff. I think we have aligned everything on here enough that I'm done futzing with it for right now, and I think I'm over it. I'll do the other landing gear tonight. Or not tonight, because tonight's Friday. Sunday night, I guess. But something I've been thinking about a lot is that back to what we were talking about before, all these machines that are Russian or Chinese or things like that. And I've been missing it because our world over here is so US centric. We're so centered around the US. And when I started to broaden my horizons, there are so many adorable machines all over the planet. Little teeny three-wheeled cars and motorcycles and, you know, no, you're good, man. You can be drunk and be political. It's not even a problem. Besides, you which is funny because in text it doesn't come through, of course, right? You can be emotional and that's cool. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with what you're saying. A lot of what you're saying is it rings true to me. You know what I mean? Like I can think of it and hear it and go, yeah. Some of that stuff is true. So don't worry about it. You're doing great. But yeah, I keep thinking about stuff like that. All the cute machines that I keep missing. Because I didn't even really realize there were so many awesome different machines out there until I lived in Japan. Because Japan has more connections with mainland Asia. And so I'd see a lot more of the Chinese vehicles and Indian vehicles and things like that. I think of things like where you are in Mongolia and the specialized vehicles you guys have for when it gets really cold and things like that. And, you know, for me, that's a big deal. I like vehicles. I'm a vehicle person. So makes total sense. I like vehicles. So it's a thing. But that's my connection to the universe. But I also like people. Like I like people from everywhere. I like you. I like people from, like some user who gets on here and he's from Sweden. I say he, you guys could be she's, I guess. I say he simply because I'm a he and default to that. I don't even, not an implication to you guys. Anyway, because really he's or she's doesn't make much of a difference. Our brains are pretty much the same. So it doesn't really mean much of anything. You just have Korean cars. North Korean or South Korean? That would be interesting. I'm always curious about that one. What's the distribution rate? because I don't have a lot of information on North Korean vehicles. I mean, as you might imagine, logically so. I am apparently on the wrong political side to have North Korean vehicles listed into the things that I know. I mean, sometimes I think I'm a little inhumane. Like, I was all torn up about the Russians blowing up the AN-225. South Korean. I actually am familiar with a lot of South Korean vehicles. Kind of wouldn't mind seeing some North Korean vehicles. Wonder what's going on in North Korea, like what kind of vehicles they've got. You know? So, all right, my friend. Congratulations, by the way. Congratulations on making it to the end of the semester. Good job. I, too, made it to the end of the semester. Go us. We did awesome. We made it to the end of the semester together. Look at us. No. North Korea's Grand Theft Auto? Oh, you mean them stealing cars? Mostly Priuses? Yeah. Priuses are useful. That's one of the reasons why Toyota keeps making a zillion of them. Anyway, I'm going to get going because I got to go hang out with my buddy and make sure he's okay. This is a rough time for him. So, I'll have to go look it up. Because now I'm seriously oh, wait! I actually know this one. They bought them but then didn't pay for them. So, that's right. I remember this. I've heard this story. All right. I'm going to get going. Congratulations to you, my friend. Congratulations to me. We both made it through a semester of college or a semester of school. I'm not sure whether you're in college or not. But either way, we both made it through. We're going to make it to another one. We got another one coming up, but we made it through this one. So enjoy it today. Enjoy your city. Enjoy the hill. Enjoy the night. Enjoy the alcohol. Enjoy it all, my friend. Yeah, nobody will sell them cars. You're not wrong on that one either. Definitely true. But either way, I'm out of here. It was great talking to you, Ray. I'm glad you were here. Thank you very much. And I know that we also, 100 million years ago... Oh, see, Tuden is Tuden's popping in to make comments on the Grand Theft Auto of North Korea. It just cracks. I mean, it doesn't crack. When I say it cracks me up, it doesn't. It's not the ha funny. That's the looking at the world ironically. Either way, Ray, Tuden, I'm glad you guys were both here. Thank you. And at some point in time, Odie was here earlier. I don't know if we still got Odie out there or not, but if you are, thank you for joining me as well. And I will see you later. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. I'll see you all Sunday night. And as always, keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye, everybody.